formal, I guess. We have couches in my office, and when people come in to talk to me, I get students, lounging in couches and being very comfortable. And for my teaching style, I really like that type of interaction better. I don't think I would like it if there was that barrier that there seems to be.
Standing on the other side of the desk and always standing.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. It's very interesting.
It was a joke that my friend had made when I came out at work. She said, she looks at my boss and she says, "So you're going to dock her pay 13% now?"
Right.
I effectively got a 13% raise. But yeah, it is very interesting to go through it. One of my boss's friends is a co-author of a research paper where they look at gender in the workplace and treatment of men and women in the workplace through the scope of transgender people. And in tracking, it's a small population, but tracking male to female transitions and female to male transitions, both objectively and subjectively, what happens to their pay, what happens to their position over time, how are they treated by their coworkers, what was their personal experience, and generally speaking, the female to male folks succeeded better in their job, or they were deemed to succeed better by their bosses, by their management, than the folks that transitioned to female, who generally ended up finding other routes of employment within a few years.
Yeah, that's one of the topics we talk about, is just the experience of kind of breaking the norms from either side. And even from a really young age, girls that take on masculine behaviors or that prefer masculine hobbies or things like that seem to always be much more readily accepted than kind of boys who take on more feminine activities or more feminine hobbies. It has a lot to do with kind of the way our government and our society is structured.
Yeah, there's a very masculine bent to it. But even for girls, I think once you hit puberty, there's a change in expectation.
Absolutely.
It's okay to be a tomboy until it's
as
not
long
okay
as
to be a tomboy.
Being a tomboy eventually.
Right.
As long as you can be a pretty delicate tomboy, puberty changes the rules.
Yeah, very much.
And for boys, it's more of an extension, more of the same, an intensification. But so it is interesting too, even the language, because girls that tend to take on those male characteristics as children are tomboys, which is a phrase that most people consider cute. And boys that take on more feminine characteristics are sissies.
Yeah,
which is definitely not cute. But we don't have better language for it.
Yeah, there really is no other way to talk about it than that.
Yeah, certainly very interesting stuff. And by the way, you are working on your doctoral thesis, yes?
Not quite the dissertation, quite the dissertation yet, but I am a PhD student. Yes.
I was just kind of curious what you were going to do then.
I'm not actually quite sure yet. Most of my research is in new communication technology, so looking at online social networking. I personally really like to look at online video games and things like that.
It's interesting.
So, kind of going in that direction, but I'm not quite sure where yet.
Wow. Not something I know much about, but I sort of get surrounded by it because of the people in my life. But
her grandson and I have bonded over World of Warcraft.
I actually I'm working on a study right now, looking at communities in World of Warcraft.
Wow.
There's nothing like playing World of Warcraft for work.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, people ask me if I've ever played before, and it's for research.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's very clever. I like that.
That's actually there's a film called Cruel and Unusual I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's about transgender individuals going through the prison system, and they interview a woman from Florida, and she talks about kind of coming out to her son and explaining to her son how she was transitioning. And one of the things she said was they always used to play video games together, and she would always play as the female character in the games. Yes. And I thought that was just a really kind of interesting way to explain it to a very young son. Yeah. You know, she talks about in the video when she finally tells him that she's going to transition, he says, well, I knew you always liked to play a girl. I just didn't know you wanted to be a girl. Yeah. And it's a neat outlet because it really is somewhere where you can go online and kind of just be a different person and experience different identities. So.
And especially in some of the games that are really role-playing games, where you actually get to develop personality and character. Some of the games are more action results-oriented, not a little less role-playing, but you actually can find quite an outlet, quite a fantasy world to experiment with, to find some relief in. Because when you get the little virtual avatar up there, people will react to what they see. And the contextual cues in the text and the little mannerisms that you can emote, people do respond differently.
Yeah, you have a lot of personal experience with that.
I do. Yes.
Tara played a female on one of the games anyway.
EverQuest. I played EverQuest for a number of years before World of Warcraft.
You played a female character,
and my main character was a female character.
And people gave you things.
And well, early on, before it was widely known that like 50% of the females in the video game were being played by men. For the first number of years, I could go out and attack a bunch of little spiders on a male character, and people would go running by. And then I'd go get my female character, and I'd go out and I'd attack the same set of spiders, and people would come up and kill them for me, and then stop and chat with me and inspect me and go, "Oh, you don't have a lot of really good equipment. Here, have some of mine."
I've had a similar experience when I first started kind of experimenting with World of Warcraft and doing this study. I did create two characters. I created a male and a female character. And when I was the female character, I got a lot of help. People just like, "Oh, are you new? Do you need me to show you around? You know, here's some tips."
Good lines, though.
And yeah, that's true. And playing as the male character, people would offer to battle me. And then when I lost, they would make fun of me. So it was an entirely different experience.
Yep. Wow. So the point is still.
Yeah, it's even when you take it online, when you take it into the video game setting, the way people interact with you is still so different.
Yeah, and that can't be, appearances and stuff, because that's you see a female and you're reacting to that. Right. It's very base.
But, interesting, yeah.
But yeah, that's been my experience.
Yeah. I'm not sure what Andrew's playing. I think he's playing a troll or something.
He's got one troll. The rest are blood elves.
Blood elves.
And a tauren.
Okay.
It's a giant ox.
It's a giant bipedal ox. Yes.
Andrew is my grandson.
All boys. All boy characters.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, though, there's a large percentage of the female characters on all of those games that are played by men. In doing the interviews for the World of Warcraft study, the females primarily had female characters, but every male I interviewed had at least one of their characters was female. Yeah. And then very few of the females had male characters.
Years ago when I was playing EverQuest, I think they said about 20 to 30% of the women that played occasionally played male characters, and at least 50% of the males who played occasionally played female characters. So it was a big difference.